Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Scenic Route Astrology. This is Makayla, and I'm going to talk about the full moon that's happening on July 21st. That's Sunday, 2024. So I know it's been a while for my current subscribers since I have posted any content for you. And just want to let you know that it is not that I don't love you. It's not that I quit astrology or anything like that. I'm going to save all of my life updates and the whys and what's going on and stuff for the end of the video. So just know that it's nothing personal to my YouTube subscribers and stuff. I've just had like a lot going on, and I'm an open book and I'm totally free to share everything, but I'll put that towards the end. For those who are new here and just want to get straight into astrology, I'm going to provide that for you first. Okay. So with that being said, I practice evolutionary and predictive astrology. I like to blend the two. And so I'm going to approach the full moon in Capricorn, the last one that we're going to have before Pluto is in Aquarius for 20 years. With the evolutionary and predictive astrology lens. So, and I just want to clarify that Pluto is currently in Aquarius for this full moon, but it's at 0 degrees and it's retrograde. Okay. So it's very soon going to dip back into Capricorn for the last time. We'll have a few more months of that, and then we're out. We're out of it. Okay. So no more Pluto in Capricorn. Okay. So that being said, let's talk about this energy. So we're like halfway through the year. So this full moon is a really good full moon to think about how far you've come, where you're at, what your goals are, how they're going, how they're navigating, what you want in life, where you're going, are your desires aligned? Is your energy aligned? Other people in your life aligned to where you're going? Okay, this is a really good full moon to go within and be a little bit more introspective with all the dynamics that are coming up for you and all the energy that's coming up for you. And of course, this is going to be completely different. This is a general reading, a general horoscope. This is going to be different according to where this is landing in your chart. Okay, so for anything more tailored or accurate, how is this full moon affecting me, or what the hell do I do with all of this energy right now? You can find me on Instagram at Scenic Route Astrology. I will post all my links down below, my website, or you can email me, and we can do a one-on-one reading. Okay. So this is a good time to do an energy check-in, a midlife, mid-year, mid-2024 year check-in. And as you can see on the external world, right, what's going on, there's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on. President Trump just had an assassination attempt. That was definitely a part of that Mars-Uranus conjunction that we had last week. But hopefully for you individuals, there wasn't anything too crazy going on in your life. That transit, and it is still going because now Mars is leaving Uranus and really initiated another 2-year cycle for you in your chart, was really a time to evaluate where certain patterns are showing up in your life that are blocking you from moving forward. Okay. Removing, blocks around self-worth, removing blocks around your ability to support yourself, your ability to love yourself, to value yourself, anything that might have to do with personal assets, personal resources, how you support yourself in that way. Okay. Times are tough for many people financially out there because the given of the United States economy and, the mess that we're in. So, I know a lot of people are dealing with those issues right now, and and having to emotionally handle that and navigate that and deal with the weight of the world and the state that we're in. Okay, so I sympathize. It's tough times. I understand. And this Mars-Uranus conjunction was really here to help anybody establish, realize, really come to the forefront of patterns that could be showing up, to help them break out of limiting areas in their life, right? So, if you really are unhappy with your job, for instance, you could break out of these self-worth, maybe I don't know enough to start my own business. Maybe I don't know enough. Maybe I'm not good enough to go for that role or go for that position, that Mars Uranus conjunction. And you can go back and look at it in your chart, was here to break individuals out of these limiting beliefs, okay, and take a leap, right? Pioneer in a new direction, if you will. And that can go with relationships too. I'm still going to say that relationships are a massive part of 2024 and evaluating really who are the people that you're bringing forward into the next 20 years of your life. Obviously, that will shift and change and stuff over the course of the 20 years as well. But really evaluating like who you are right now in time and space, and like where you're going, how you're evolving. Do you want to become a better human being? And how are the people in your life affecting that? Okay. And I'm saying that's because the South Node is in Libra. And so there's a lot of turmoil that's been dug up since the nodes moved into Libra and Aries around relationship dynamics. Okay. And the nodes are at 9 degrees right now. So we still have a bit more time until they shift into Pisces and Virgo. And we're going to have a new sense of direction on where the transits are trying to orchestrate, and navigate our personal journeys in our life. Okay. So I'm going to dive into this full moon with that little preface right there. And for those who like the visual, I'm obviously going to share the screen for you and share the chart. Okay. So I have this casted for 6:16 a.m. on Sunday in Providence, Rhode Island. So of course, if you're in a different section of the world, you just want to, cast the appropriate time zone for you. So you can put it into where it's falling in your chart. So the first thing I want to bring up is this is a full moon in Capricorn. Okay. So we've got the moon here at 29 degrees of Capricorn. If you've got anything at the cardinal signs, I would say 20 degrees, I'd give it a large orb here by a square, an opposition, or a conjunction at 20 degrees to 30 degrees of the cardinal signs. Okay. And I'd even go as far as 10 degrees into the fixed signs. This full moon is going to be affecting your chart, the planets around those degrees in your chart a little bit heavier. Okay. You'll be impacted on this a little bit more. But again, I think honestly, a lot of people are going to be feeling, the majority of people are going to be feeling this full moon. And when we're dealing with the Cancer Capricorn axis, this is actually a highly emotional axis. And like all full moons, we experience a heightened sensitivity of energy. Okay. People tend to get more emotional. There's nothing wrong about it. If you're one of those people who are more susceptible to feeling your emotions quite strongly, again, there's nothing wrong. Just know and expect that as we get closer to this full moon, then, your emotions are going to get heightened. They're going to rise up a little bit more. Okay. And this access really has to do with a combination of your sense of safety, inner safety and security, and also your emotional maturity and where you're at. Okay. And how you can handle the tides of your emotions coming in and out. All right. So, this is an illumination. Okay. Things coming to light, things coming to the surface. Okay. Issues that, you need to deal with, blockages that you need to deal with. But on the more positive side too, this can also be an illumination of how far you've come, how wise, right? Or how wise you've become with mastering your emotions, if you will. Okay. And there's going to be some triggers around this full moon because Pluto is right there. Okay. You can see Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius and it's retrograde. Pluto's like pulling back into that full moon. Okay. So when Pluto is involved in our chart dynamics, okay, there are things around manipulation. There are things about power struggles, right? There are things that we haven't seen that have kind of been below the surface that need to be revealed. Okay. These can be, I don't want to say like actual, literally life death situations, but it can be, right? Or it can feel like life or death situations, right? Because essentially what Pluto does is it rips things apart, it dissolves it in a sense of like it needs to bring a death to a certain something if it's not serving you anymore. Okay. And how this can show up is with the moon in Capricorn. This can be like a very rigid pattern or a very rigid way an individual has been dealing with their emotions, right? Or has not, right? Has been repressing their emotions, right? This could very much bring up areas of your life where like you haven't been addressing your emotions, you haven't been taking responsibility in managing them. Okay. And Pluto's coming along here with this full moon, and it's like, no, 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 I'm going to bring that stuff to the surface, because honestly, that's like a huge toxicity in your body, in your emotional body, and it's preventing, said individual from moving forward. Okay. And again, this can turn up because Pluto is involved. Sometimes this turns up as triangular situations or relationships. Okay. Sometimes there's a third party involved, right? And that could be a person, that can be a thing, that can be a situation. Under this full moon, it might be a piece of information, like a third piece of information that comes to the surface, that comes to the light under this full moon that, you didn't see before. Okay. And I'm saying that because Pluto is forming a trine to Mars that just moved into Gemini. Okay. So while we have this Pluto, let's see if I can get my little pointers out again. I haven't used this in a while. Draw. Cool. Pluto's forming a trine to that Mars and Gemini right there. And then we also have Jupiter that's been in Gemini, that's going to be in Gemini for the next year, approximately. Yeah, like half a year, up until the spring of 2025, because it's been in there for a couple months now. It's forming a square to that Saturn and Pisces. Okay. I do have a video that's available. If you have not seen it, on my YouTube channel, that talks about Jupiter transits. There's two of them. One's about Jupiter transits and one's about Jupiter transits through the houses. So I highly encourage you to go and check that out, right? And to understand what Jupiter and Gemini means, watch the part where I talk about Jupiter through the third house. Okay. And then layer that with whatever house it's actually transiting in your chart, right? So say Jupiter is transiting your ninth house and Jupiter's in Gemini right now. Synthesize Jupiter transiting the third house with Jupiter also transiting the ninth house. Okay. Again, if that's like way over your head and you need help, you can always book an astrology reading with me and I can help interpret it for you. So back to this. So, power dynamics, right? Triangulation, third party situations coming to the light, right? Information coming to light, even different avenues and choices. Okay. And obviously pattern recognition and maybe pattern breaking. Okay. Under this illumination, right? Coming up for us. And that trine is really, sometimes with trines, we can be a little lazy. Okay. Because it is one of the easier transits to deal with. But however, Mars is now in the same sign that Jupiter is in. Okay. Mars is going to be approaching this conjunction with Jupiter very soon. And also, that Jupiter is forming a square to Saturn, and it's like the first of 3 that we're going to have. So it's going to be a bunch of situations that we're dealing with now where different choices are coming up for us, right? We know that we have options, right? We know that we have choices. We know that we have things to move forward in our life and take a different avenue, go a different route, all right? But with all this Gemini energy, there's a massive focus to be curious about new avenues that maybe you have not explored yet. Okay. When Mars is transiting through a sign, I don't care what sign it is, Mars itself is trailblazing. Okay. It's going through a new part of the chart again, right? And Mars represents Aries energy at the baseline, right? So this is about embarking on something new, doing something new, trying something new out. And it's taking on the Gemini archetype. Okay. So this is about learning something new, conversations over a new perspective, a new idea, right? A new thought, and being open and curious. Okay. Allowing yourself to have an open mind. It does not mean that everything that you start to investigate or question or get information in or perspectives or ideas in or soak in, right? It doesn't mean that you take everything on. Okay. It doesn't mean that you have to own it as your own idea or your own truth or your own thought, but it is encouraging you to at least gather bits and pieces of information so that you as a human, like you navigating your own life can make the best choices and the best decisions based on having more information. Okay. I always talk about this with my clients, and this is like way out of left field, but this is just what comes up for me. So I think it's important to just share is, you know, my history, my background with being a sex worker, and I had dealt with like many clients, cheating on their partners and so forth. It's not that I thought it was okay, because I didn't. I actually never condoned that, never will condone that. I'll always speak my opinion of this. I think that when you don't tell your partner something, right? Or if you don't tell your friend a piece of information, this can go in any direction, but this is what came up for me. And I think it's because Pluto's a part of this energy. When you don't let somebody in on a piece of information, you're actually taking away a sense of agency from that person to make a more informed decision for themselves. Okay. And so sometimes we have to investigate ourselves, right? We have to go out and search for our own missing pieces of information so that we can make healthier, more aligned choices for ourselves. Okay. And again, like, we're not responsible for what other people can or cannot do for us, but we are responsible for our own choices and our own actions. Okay. And we are responsible for what we can inform ourselves with and what we can't. Okay. So this isn't really a time to be, I want to say, lazy in the sense of not caring about where your future is going to go and just being like, well, I think I have enough information. I think right now this energy is actually asking people. That's why I'm saying don't be lazy, because the Mars trine Pluto can show up as a little bit of lazy, but you're not going to get anywhere and you're not going to move forward anywhere if you don't at least find what is going to bring you some sense of like energy or will to want to seek something out. Okay. So like, if you feel stagnant in your business and, instead of just being okay with it, maybe there's a missing piece of information, right? Maybe there's something that you could learn, or maybe there's some type of, knowledge that you could gain or that you could investigate for yourself, to remove yourself out of that stagnation period, right? To, basically develop yourself a little bit better. Okay. And I want to encourage people under this, if this is coming up, because the Mars and Jupiter are in Gemini, they're responding to this Mercury over here that is in Leo. Okay. And so the point is to follow things right now that are going to bring you joy. Okay. Like joy to the max. Okay. Because I'm actually in the process of learning human design, and I just got level 1 certified. Okay. And the planet is shifting in 2027. Okay. The planet is shifting. All of us humans are going to go through this shift internally. We're going to feel it energetically. We already are. And we can see the way that society is shifting too. There's a lot more spiritual businesses popping up. There's a lot more information going around, and there's a lot more people reaching a higher consciousness level, which is amazing. And so there's so much information that's being spread out and around, and ideas and perspectives and thoughts and opinions and ways of doing things and blah, 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 blah. And that is amazing. Okay. But the next level of that is, okay, now that I've assimilated, now that I've taken in all this energy and learned and, expanded my mind, expanded my perspective, because that's what really Jupiter wants you to do right now in Gemini, is expand yourself. Okay. Mentally, right? Is now it's like, well, what that Mercury in Leo right now wants you to do is find things that bring you joy, right? Find things that mentally stimulate you, physically stimulate you, that make you feel alive, that make you feel like your heart is in it. Okay. And of course, that's going to look different to everybody. Okay. And this is going to all resort back to like, where am I stuck, right? Where am I stuck? Like, what old patterns might be holding me back in my life that are preventing me from finding this joy, right? From finding this pure, thriving energy, this pure alignment. Okay. And, we're in also Mercury retrograde shadow right now. Okay. So we're going to have this long Mercury retrograde period, about 3 weeks where, Mercury is going to dip into Virgo a bit and then it's going to go back into Leo. Okay. And what's going to happen is anything from Tuesday, July 16th. Okay. And I don't have the Mercury full retrograde dates up, so I do apologize for that. But I was planning on doing a different video on the whole Mercury retrograde thing anyway. So we could just stay tuned for that and hopefully I get that out. But anything happening right now until next week, those are things, and during the Mercury retrograde period, those are things that are going to be up for review for you. Okay. And what happens is during this whole process, what I'm talking about is, we've got planets retrograde, right? We've got Pluto retrograde, we've got Saturn retrograde, we've got Neptune retrograde right here. That is a really bad circle. Mars is going to go retrograde when it reaches towards the end of Gemini, and it's going to go retrograde through Cancer and Gemini. And we're going to have like a very interesting Mars retrograde period for a couple of months. And Mercury is going to be retrograde. And what that means when we have planets in retrograde motion is there's an acceleration of evolution, of consciousness awareness, of breaking, old patterns, or breaking through emotional dynamics that are weighing you down or holding you back or not getting you to where you want to be. There's an acceleration because what those retrograde planets do is they ask you to make it a more internal process. Okay. That's why there can be feel like a pulling back in some areas of our life, right? Like a pulling back or a stagnation or a block or a hold. It's really not that. It's really accelerating because the work that you begin to do internally on yourself accelerates. Once you liberate, once you free that up, accelerates everything else going on in your outside life, right? When you really want to manifest and you really want to get things accelerating and moving forward in your life, or you want to call in, the job of your dreams, right? The relationship of your dreams and stuff, all that stuff has to start within us, right? And that's, I think, ultimately why humans like us find these tools like astrology, right? Or human design, spiritual coaching and stuff like that, right? Because we're ready to, amp up our human experience here on earth. We know how good it can be, right? So we're trying to amp it up as much as we can. Okay. So, don't be fearful of all of these retrogrades and stuff. It basically just means an acceleration process, but it's an internal one. Okay. I think of it like this slingshot, like you're holding yourself back, you're doing the inner work, you're doing the inner work, you're doing the work. And then once a planet moves, direct, it's like, right, launching forward. Like, here we go with that new perspective that I got, right? That new idea, that new thought, an action that I now want to put in place and put in motion. Okay. The other thing I want to bring up is that, we're getting that Mercury is trining this Chiron. Okay. And Chiron is really an important player because Chiron's forming a square to this full moon. And with Chiron in Aries, it's been there for a while. I think that we're all somewhat familiar with like what Chiron in Aries is feeling like because it's been there for so long, but it really does deal with building up the self-love, all right, and the courage to really just take up your own personal space and really take on Aries energy. And that really looks like, hey, I'm important. I'm number one in my life, right? My ideas matter, my emotions matter, right? What I want to do, where I want to go, how I want to take agency in my life, right? It all matters. And sometimes for some people, that's really hard to do. That's really hard to say. It's really hard to acknowledge. It's really hard to set a boundary with family members or friends or loved ones, right? Some of us aren't used to having that Aries energy where some of us are. I was born as an Aries. I've always been like, a little headstrong, a little bit buck the current. I'm not afraid to go into new experiences and try new things. And so I very much know I can help people when it comes to embodying Aries, right? When it comes to taking up space, when it comes to, not giving a fuck what other people think if it makes you happy and your intentions are pure and good, right? So, I've definitely, from personal experience, and I hope this is helpful, been in situations where it's been a new situation and I didn't know what the F I was doing. And I had to go in with some type of Aries confidence, whether it was real or not. I kind of went in anyway. Like the first time I flew a plane, for instance, I had been practicing and practicing and practicing. And my instructor was like over it and was like, it's time. And even though I was so scared, I also knew that I had to have the courage, right? To do the damn thing finally, right? To take off, to do the thing. And that's really what this Chiron can be, is like there's a wounding here, there's a pain, there's a trigger point where, in a certain area of our life, we're like, I know I got to take up space. I know I don't have to worry about, I really don't think we ever have to worry about what other people think. I just think that judgments are, um, a thing that we can leave in the old paradigm. And this is another thing that can pop up under this full moon, because Capricorn can deal with judgments to some level, right? So this could be an illumination of like, okay, where are you judging yourself? Because I guarantee if you're judging yourself, then you're vibrating that judgment for other people to come at you and project that out back at you. Okay. So it's really an opportunity to release that, right? And with the square, it's tension, right? It's a difficult aspect that we deal with in astrology. And basically when it comes down to dealing with the square, is you can either go forward, right? And do the thing, even though it's scary, right? Take the risk, go into the new direction, right? For yourself, whatever that looks like for you, and take a chance and try it. Or you can stay stuck in the old pattern because it's quote unquote comfortable. Sorry, that's my dishwasher, if you can hear that in the background. Um, so annoying. Or you can stay in the old pattern that's comfortable, but is it really comfortable at the end of the day? And is it really aligned with where you're wanting to go? Right? And these are the questions that are important to ask yourself this, right? And this also would have, some of these dynamics and some of these situations would have been brought up for you under the Mars Uranus conjunction in Taurus, right? That was also responding to this Venus and Leo right here, okay? Because Taurus rules Venus, okay? And Venus and Leo really is a nice time for us to enjoy our relationships that bring us that sense of joy, that bring color into our life, that embrace our authenticity. That's another thing that's very important, is getting aligned now with who you are as an individual. Okay. And that's going to require you to figure it out for some of us, right? I mean, some of us, from the human design lens, are born in knowing who we are. Okay. There's a very strong G center, right? Defined G center, and you're going to know who you are, right? Coming into this life, and you're either going to want to share it in different ways or not. And some of us, and there's no right or wrong, okay? It's like a mix of like what our soul chose and what our imprinting is. And some of us are trying hats on and we're figuring things out. And some fit, some don't, some we keep in the closet, some we want to put on, some we don't want to put on, and a part of that investigation is having those talks and those communications with what lights you up, right? And what brings you joy, okay? And what's going to make you an individual. Because shortly after this full moon, when the full moon is like, hey, here are all these stuck patterns, here's where you're blocking yourself emotionally, right? Here's where your identity might have a judgment stuck to it that needs to be released, right? The sun is like literally shortly after, within hours, going to move into Aquarius, into Leo, where it's going to oppose that Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius, okay? And then you're going to have to confront anything that is basically not allowing you to live into your pure authenticity and live into your pure self, right? And I do want to say, I'm going to wrap this up here. I do want to say that when you begin to live your authentic self and the perfect human being that you are, because your soul chose your chart for a reason, and you're meant to align with your chart, and you're meant to have your own, way of expressing yourself, follow your own path, right? It's going to look different to everybody else, like, but when you actually bring your personal individual gift into the universe, whatever that is, whatever you're discovering that is for yourself, that's when you really light up that Pluto in Aquarius, right? That we're going to be dealing with for the next 20 years. That's when you shine your space into the light of humanity. And no matter what our personal journey is, every time somebody is lit up, right? Every time somebody is happy and expressing joy and love, which are strong Leo qualities, that's when we start to affect the community around us, right? That starts to affect our lovers, our friends, our communities that we're involved in, like our businesses, everything else. And that's the Aquarius, right? That's how the system of the Aquarius works, right? So we can't lose our heart, right? We can't lose our sense of playfulness, our sense of joy, and what becomes really a passion that brings us color into our life, right? That lights us up and that really makes us, enjoy living on this earth. Okay. I know that's like easier said than done, but it is possible. And I think that the tools of astrology and human design and chakra work, spiritual coaching, and all of that, all the information that we're now spreading as healers and energy workers and counselors and so forth, I think it's all really helpful to where we're going. Okay. So that's the conclusion for the full moon in Capricorn. Thank you so much for staying. If you have stayed this far, please make sure that you give me a like and a subscribe. As you guys know, I don't post all the time, but I'm figuring out my posting strategy and so forth. So, and then for all of you who are subscribed, and I promised that I would give you a life update and why it's been months since I've posted. I do want to give a shout out to my new subscriber who was like, please post more. I got your comment and I laughed and I was like, okay, I'm going to come in. Here I am. So I like to live through, I like to share my astrology. I like to coach through my own personal experiences. I think that's actually what I'm meant to do here. I have a 3-5 profile. I'm a generator. But my throat chakra is, open. Okay. So I have to be conscious of how I'm sharing things and if they're helpful or not for other people. But just to give everyone an update, I just moved like a month and a half ago, I think it was. Yeah, a month and a half ago I moved. So that was a lot. I had come back home from Thailand from being there for a month. I went through a breakup that really was tough and difficult for me to process. So I had to take some time off to heal. Still healing, but I think that I'll be posting some spiritual coaching stuff to help other people who are going through moving, transitions, breakups, just the difficult shit stuff of life, right? That's just like really hard sometimes, right? And but it teaches us a lot of wisdom. Okay. And as a very emotional person, I go through these emotional waves like intense and deeply, but I also always learn so much from the experiences. So I'm always blessed to, at the end of the day, aftermath, with different perspective to be grateful for these experiences. Okay. um Cedar Grew Astrology is getting a bit of a rebrand because I'm using human design now, and it has completely just changed everything for me. And I'm so excited to begin to do readings and just start making videos and stuff. I'm so excited about it. I can't even begin to explain. I just finished my level 1 certification in like a week and a half. I'm on level 2 right now. And I'm also, if you're on my Instagram, I've been training for a fitness competition, which I started to train for one in the fall, and I got food poisoning before I was supposed to step on stage. So that has also been keeping me very busy because it's like a full-time job. And I'm 4.5 months away from my show. I've been on the program for about 7 weeks straight now. So, but I'm posting a lot of that on my Instagram for those who, just like to live vicariously through life, right? And so that's what my Instagram has basically been doing. Okay. So I'll post all that down below if that interests you, because I do human design, spiritual coaching, astrology, and fitness training, and just like my personal experiences all in one through all of that on my social media. Okay. And I try to leave the YouTube for more longer form and educational content. I am speaking at the Astro Bash conference again for the second year in a row in Borrego Springs, California in September. So I will also link that down below for everybody. So if you want to meet me in person, you can still show up for the conference. I think the registration is still open, or you can buy my lecture afterwards. They will record it and have it available on their website. And I am also working on my own astrology courses as well that will be recorded probably the next couple of months or so. Okay, I finished all my slides, handouts, and stuff like that, did the legwork. Now I just have to sit in front of the camera and record it. So anyway, I appreciate all of you sticking with me and just being here, being a subscriber. I love this community. I love my YouTube channel, and I like hearing from everybody. So feel free to let me know how the energy is showing up for you. Feel free to leave me any comments that you want, any content maybe you want to see going forward. I know I have to finish my ascendant video. I got a long list of stuff I want to make. So but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It was just a crazy couple months, and we're doing a lot better now. We're in a lot better space. So as always, I give you guys so much love, and really take your time to enjoy the full moon, enjoy what it has to bring, enjoy the insights that it should bring for you. And again, I'll see you guys soon. Okay, take care.